Ladies and gentlemen, guys, there are dark forces moving against us. There's no real way to hide this anymore. These things are we're just seeing them more and more. Now, excuse me. Now, what I think is what will happen in the next by the end of the year, you're going to see more people talking about the reality of these dark forces and highlighting them. And then those people are just going to be silenced. They're going to be cancelled. And what that's actually going to do is that's going to put more light on what this actually is. So guys, just before we go on, this is not going to be a woo-woo video where I start going all weird. We're going to be I forgot to stop. We're going to be talking about what's been happening in the United Kingdom, the draconian laws that have just come in that are re-identifying hate speech, that are re-identifying misogyny and putting that into an extremist category. And guys, no matter where you are in the world, these laws are coming to you. So don't think that you're safe. These things will be coming. Now, there's really good people in the world, and you can see them, but a lot of them are misguided. They're thinking that they're misguided, and everything at the moment, guys, is literally inverted. I always invert things when I see things. So if I see an agency and it says something, I think, right, okay, what's the opposite to that? Right, that's probably what it does, and that's the reality of it. Okay, look at the Ministry of Defence. Every country has a Ministry of Defence. Do they concentrate on defending? No, of course not. They concentrate on attacking. Anyway, guys, so what we're going to talk about now is these misogynistic. We're going to talk about misogyny. Now, before I continue, I want to give you an example. I want to give you a little anecdote. I used to work as a contractor for the British Embassy in Baghdad. Now, when we worked there, it was just dudes. All right, it was just men. We was subcontracted to the European Union, and then they said, right, okay, you guys need to have some women on your team. So, okay, right. So we employed some women. When the women came, we got a divide in our group straight away. Now, the contract used to be the type of, it was just blokes, go to the gym, go to work, living together. On a Friday, we'd all watch a film together and eat like Doritos and stuff. We'd have poker nights. It was awesome. And then as soon as the women came, you would find that the group fractured. Yeah, the group balkanized, I guess. There was a group over here, there was a group over there, and it just got weird literally overnight. And I'll tell you why it got weird, because you got the weaker men of the group trying to impress the women for whatever reason, and they would start to wear gel in their hair, and I don't even know where they got gel from. They start wearing perfume every day, and it just got really bad. And then it all came down to like this showdown in the living room one day. So one of the girls, it was her birthday, and she and the rest of the team chipped in and got her a birthday cake. Absolutely fine. We was in the living room, and one of the guys in that same team, he said, he was an Irish guy, and he said, here, I don't know where it was my birthday the day before. I never got no cake. And everybody looked, and it just straight away, everybody just started arguing, and it was absolutely ridiculous. And you can, and then the contract went from one of absolute amazingness to one of, arguing every day, little groups, little cliques, little, scheming behind people's backs, and all that sort of stuff. And the men started to, whereas normally the men would cover for each other, they'd help each other out. Now they're in little gangs and cliques, and they don't do that. Now you can argue that this was misogyny at its peak. This is exactly what we mean by misogyny. But equally, if those women hadn't have turned up to that contract, that group would have still worked in harmony, and that would have been a better working environment. So if I say to you that women shouldn't be in some work environments, and I can also say that men shouldn't be in some work environments as well, that's totally, that is totally a fair analysis. But if we say this now, as I understand, which I'm certainly not saying, because this would be I would be classed as an extremist. But if we say this now, then we're classed under the new extremist laws, which categorizes misogyny as extremism. Now, if we classify misogyny as, feeling a certain way towards women, then what's the opposite to that? Do we not have it when women don't like men? Because I've seen, how many times have we seen interviewers go on the streets and they've interviewed a woman and they've said, do you need men? And they've said, oh no, we don't need men. They're disgusting. They're horrible. We hate them. Is that not the inversion of misogyny? Anyway, so what I want to do now, guys, I want to read you these articles that have been posted by the UK government, and I want to give you my thoughts on them. Where are we? Not that one. Here we are. So here we are, guys. Look, so misogyny to be treated as extremism by the UK government. And guys, be under no illusion, wherever you are in the world, a form of this is coming to your country. Extreme misogyny will be treated as a form of extremism under new government plans, the Home Office said. Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, has ordered a review of the UK's counter-extremism strategy to determine how best to tackle threats posed by harmful ideologies, which is fine, I get that. But remember what I said in my previous video. If, I gave the example of when I went to the doctors and I said, I used the swear word to describe the pain in my shoulder. She got angry, there was a big scene. Then I used some really bad words in Russian, in Ukrainian, and in Arabic. She didn't know what they meant, so she didn't take offense. Now, context is everything from here. And like I said in my previous video, who's going to be deciding what hatred, what hateful idolatry, what the word hate actually means, and who's going to be contextualizing that? The analysis will look at hatred of women as one of the ideological trends that the government says is gaining traction. Ms. Cooper said there's been a rise in extremism both online and in our streets that frays the fabric of our communities and democracy. So, is this a war on men? So, and what's going to happen here is this is all going to come down to online again. So people are going to be looking back through your texts, through your messages, and if on your tweets, on your posts, and if you say, for example, that men are generally taller than women, that's going to be classed as, that could be classed as misogyny, because, if anybody thinks that a man is, men are generally taller than women, you're a misogynist, you're an extremist, and you're going to jail. That's the road we're going on. That's the road. And why do I say that? Because, and I know what people will be saying, and they'll be saying, oh no, it's just to stop hateful ideology. And guys, I get that. But the problem is, as soon as these laws are passed, these go to solicitors or barristers or whoever, or legal experts. They want to make some money, so they think, right, we need to make some money. Because don't forget, again, invert everything. What is a solicitor's job? What is a barrister's job? I'll give you a second. For those of you who are thinking it's to represent you and represent the law, wrong. A barrister's job is to get money out of your pocket and to put it into his pocket. That's the only job that he has, or she. Now, in between that, there's a service that he or she has to provide, and that is giving you that legal service. So when you look at things, when you contextualize things in that light, you understand that then, okay, now these new laws have been passed. So now barristers are going to manipulate these, not manipulate, but they're going to interpret these laws and these meanings. And it is going to get to a stage where people are looking back through your posts, and because you've said a man is generally taller than a woman, oh, that's misogyny. Or because you say a man is generally stronger than a woman, that's misogyny. And guys, we see this now. We can literally see this on our streets. You doctors now have to ask men if they're pregnant. Do I need to say any more? Do I need to say any more for all of those of you guys who are thinking, oh no, that's ridiculous, Sean. You're not right. Guys, men are now asked if they're pregnant when they go to when they see a doctor. So if you don't think that this is the absolute inversion and these dark forces appearing, it's it is, there's no denying it anymore. And like I said, what we're going to see more people start speaking out about what's really happening now. And when that happens, they're going to get silenced, obviously. And because they're silenced, more people are going to be looking at what they've said and think, hang on a minute, yeah, they were actually right. And then once that happens, these dark forces that are operating behind the scenes, they're going to start thinking, oh God, we need to move faster. We need to move faster. We need to move forwards faster, and then everything's going to erupt. And I really do think this time is coming pretty soon. Now, guys, in totally unrelated news to what I've just said, where are we? In totally unrelated news, trans activist, son of Ed Balls and Yvette Cooper, heckles Zawali off uni campus. So here we've got this guy, as I understand it from this article from 2022, he's the son of Yvette Cooper. So you can imagine now he's one of these trans activists, members of the university LBGT plus group at Warwickshire Pride brandished flags and placards as a demonstration against him and his trip to the university's Conservative Association. Look how they don't want the Conservative Association to be there. Joel Cooper, the son of the Shadow Home Secretary and the former Shadow Chancellor, and now the son of the Home Secretary, was videoed interrupting Mr. Zahawi's question and answer to challenge him over his stance on trans rights. So here we've got Miss Cooper, who's now the Home Secretary, and her son, who's as I look at it, he's a trans rights activist. A statement from Warwick Pride said members were upset by Mr. Zahawi on his role on institutional transphobia. And I'm going to come on to transphobia in a minute, because he used the term adult human female. So here we are, guys. If you use the term adult human female, then you're transphobic. And the context is everything. So this phrase here, adult human female, that is enough to have a protest outside your event. If you say someone is an adult human female, then that's it. You're transphobic. Now, institutional transphobia. That's what we're going to talk about now. Let me stop sharing this. So, if any of you have ever been to one of these LGBTQ plus marches or events or carnivals, guys, they're satanic. There's no way around this. The degeneration that you see there is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, these things are allowed to go ahead in broad daylight when there's kids walking the streets holding, with their mums and dads. So we're exposing our children to this. Now, I'd like to think that that normal people don't. Now, I don't want to use keywords in here that's going to get this video flagged or anything, but go and look at some of the things that happen in the name of inclusivity and trans and, LGBTQ, the alphabet people. Would you let your would you expose, if that was on the TV, would you let your child watch it? If your child's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, how far do we go? Would you let your child watch that? No, of course not. This sort of stuff would, if that was on the TV, that would be after the watershed. But, it's totally acceptable for this sort of stuff to be marching through our streets, and you've just got to accept it. Oh, yeah, that's again, the trans rights stuff. Guys, when I was in the military, of course there was people in the military who were gay, who had whatever, who did whatever. Now, none of that mattered. They didn't push this on anyone, and they didn't act like a certain way, and they certainly weren't degenerates. So I think what the problem here is, it's not, sexuality, it's degeneratism. And some of these things are absolutely wild. And, we're having this forced upon us now, and we're meant to just accept this like it's normal. Can you imagine if you've got a kid, you're there, you're walking down the high street, you've been to Smithy's Toys, and they've got a little, they've got a little toy. And the next thing you see this carnival heading towards you with some absolutely disgusting things happening on it. We're supposed to accept that as normal, and that's progressive, guys. And then now, if we say this is not progressive, this is part of, this is hate speech now. This is extremism. Now look at who's, if we follow the why, look at who's pushing these bills. Look at their family connections. Look at who they are as a person. And guys, this is the reality of the situation we are in the United Kingdom. And guys, don't forget, this is going to be everywhere pretty soon. So the lead of this video, guys, was these laws that are being pushed into the United Kingdom. Who's going to decide what's hate speech? Who's going to decide what misogyny is? Are people going to look back on our tweets from 10 years ago and say, hey, you know what? You said a woman, you said a man was generally taller than a woman. Get him in jail. Get him in the gulag. But we're seeing it now. We're literally seeing people going to prison for tweets, guys. Anyway, that is it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to back to grid. I'll see you later.